This is Rob Tebbutt for Behind the Gloves. I'm here with the WBA Super Middleweight Champion, George Groves. Always get that wrong. How you doing?
I didn't even know what it was, yeah.
You didn't know what it was? It took you all those attempts to win a world title. You don't know what it is?
It's one of them, definitely one of them.
How are you doing today, George?
I'm very good, thank you. Very, very good.
Good. Obviously, we're here at the George Groves Chris Eubank Jr. press conference at the Savoy Hotel in London. Forgive me for saying it, George. Seemed to be a little bit of the old George Groves creep into this press conference. Would you agree with that?
Depends what the old George Groves is, I suppose.
I mean, there's no Rubik's Cube, but a little bit more animated than perhaps your last few.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's something to say, isn't there, this time round? So it can be said. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to. It's hard to sit there silently with the son junior and the dad. You know, so if the son wanted to sit there quietly, then I might have been a little bit more quiet today. But I had a couple of things to say, and I was definitely struck a nerve. So it was well worth me saying it. You know, they're not as well rehearsed as I thought they were going to be, and more so than anything, they were a little bit lost. I thought, you know, maybe I'm seeing it from my point of view. I'm a bit biased, but maybe I believe that it wasn't the usual Eubank Jr. or the dad.
And why do you think that is? Obviously, you've been here before. You've been in huge fights in the past, well-documented, highly publicised domestic clashes. Chris Eubank Jr. hasn't. Do you think that you've been there now? You're more seasoned. You can see things that perhaps other people who haven't been in the situation before can see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's in a fight that he can't win. Of course, like you. If I show up and he shows up, we're both on form, he loses. And it's the first time probably that he's been in that situation in his career, apart from his other loss. So the dad knows a lot about me, he's seen me. The dad understands boxing to a certain degree when he's paying attention, of course, because he's been involved in the sport long enough. The dad, I felt, seemed very nervous today, much more reserved than usual. I mean, obviously he had the occasional outburst, but he was only when something was sort of relevant to him. They're as I say, they're in a fight for the first time that they're not going to win. So that's a brand new experience for them. You know, they seemed much more animated than usual. You know, the type of things they were saying is different from usual. You know, usually, obviously, the son's very nonchalant. He's very like. This is it. This is a matter of fact. Today he felt he had to prove himself. You know.
Now I want you to shed some light on some allusions to this sparring stuff. To me, as a boxing fan, it feels like every big fight, something about sparring comes up, and somebody dropped somebody or something happened here. Can you shed some light on Chris Eubank Jr.'s comments about your sparring sessions? I mean, he just told me that, for lack of a better word, he dominated those sessions. I mean, would you agree with that? Is that something you refute?
Yeah, no, I refute them. There would be the odd occasion where he gave a really good account of himself, but at the end of the day, he was my sparring partner. I brought him in for sparring. I paid him. I put him up, fed him. I told him what time to show up at the gym, and he was good work. He used to come and let his hands go. It was just what we wanted. I used him for a couple of fights. And. He did give a good account of himself. Sometimes, he came out on top, but he's sparring. He's sparring. I mean, the vast majority of the time that I was in full control, and I don't spar to win rounds. It's sparring, I might have done a hill sprint session that morning. I might have another session that night. I might be more in the tank. I might not have had breakfast because I'm making weight. There's a whole heap of variables that come into sparring that always makes me wonder why people bring it up, why they rely on it. And I thought this would be his last card because I know he's had good sparring sessions like with me. He's had a couple where he's come away feeling good. He's had a lot where he hasn't, where he's come away and thinking, something needs to change. But I didn't think he'd bring it up today. He brought it up today already. So for him, I think it's a loss. It's a loss. He's submitted, he's come out with his last sort of card, and as I say, I thought he'd be much more well prepared. I thought he'd be on point. I thought he would have done better than to rely on sparring, because we've all sparred each other. Do you know what I mean? But there's no significant action. He never knocked me down, never dropped me, never even buzzed me, never, just never. Likewise, I've never knocked him down. So. You know, it's not like either one of us has like dominated the sparring, but one of us got dropped, so you got something to hang on to. I just think it's a bit of a weird one from him to sort of try and rely on that already.
Now, last time I spoke to you was in the immediate aftermath of your victory over Jamie Cox. To me, you looked like somebody, I don't know if relief is the right word, but somebody who was very secure in what they'd just done. I mean, defending your world title for the first time after your many ups and downs in your career. Have you felt a difference coming into this fight on the back of that? You know, you won your world title, you defended your world title, and now you're straight into another big fight.
Yeah, I mean, the difference came after winning the world title against Shudnov. No change at all after then. I knew I was going to win the Cox fight. I knew that he was going to try and walk through punches, and I was going to find a hope for him, and he wasn't going to last. The more I haven't really thought about exactly how Junior is going to try and approach this fight, but he might try and do the same. If he does, he's not going to last long because he doesn't know how to. You can't walk through my punches. You know, it's a stupid idea. So he's going to have to box his way past my punches. Or I don't know. So I don't think he can do that. So I'm not really fussed about this fight at all. Relief, I think, is not the right expression. After the Cox fight, I was just excited. It's excited because you know you have a fight and then you wonder what's next. Do you know what I mean? I had a fight and I knew, I'm boxing again soon. I've got a nice little tasty fight. This fella thinks he's good. You know, getting paid. It's happy days. You know what I mean? It's excitement.
Now, the fight is taking place in Manchester. In the immediate aftermath of the Jamie Cox fight, you were lobbying pretty hard for Stamford Bridge or another potential venue in London. How do you feel about the fight taking place in Manchester? Was London ever a realistic possibility? I mean,
yeah, I think the O2 was what they decided quickly they were going to go indoors. The O2 was unavailable. I think there will be boxing on in February into the O2, but it will be insignificant compared to our little fight. So we're going Manchester. Fantastic arena, great changing rooms, nice hotels. I'm happy with that. You know, very happy with that.
Okay, and just finally, George, I do appreciate your time. Whenever I have interviewed you in the past, I always ask this question, and I always sort of get the same answer. So I'm going to word it slightly differently. I'm not going to ask you for a prediction because you usually say this fight won't go 12. What is going to be the determining factor when you step into the ring with Chris Eubank Jr. on February the 17th?
I'm going to chin him. I'm going to chin him. I think I'll chin him early. I'll chin him.
What's the determining factor? What's going to be the difference?
I'm going to chin him.
George Groves, thanks very much for speaking to Behind the Gloves.
Thank you very much. Perfect.
Hey, my fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. And if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking right here.